Off and running. Okay. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, we're going to look at section 2.4, using sets to solve problems. And what we learned, especially on Thursday of last week, is going to be extremely helpful and carry right over into this section. Our ability to label regions of a Venn diagram with Roman numerals helps us to efficiently ascertain as to where elements belong and what sets they belong. Okay. All right, so here we go, section 2.4 here. Okay. Our objective in this section is, using Venn diagrams, we're going to learn how to solve various problems, okay, and answer questions. All right. Again, we seen last week that labeling regions with Roman numerals and Venn diagrams is extremely helpful. And then after labeling the regions appropriately, then we will be able to allocate to respective regions elements for the problem that we're given. Okay. So in order to do this, we normally determine what elements are in set A, and not in set B, by subtracting the number in region 2 from the total number of elements in A. Then write that number in region 1. Repeat for the elements in B, but not in region 2, and write in region 2. You'll see how this all comes into play with examples. Examples are the greatest way to learn math. Find the number of elements in the universal set that are not in either A or B and write it in region 4. And of course, this extrapolates to 3 sets, A, B, and C, or even more than that in reality. But normally we don't go above and beyond 3 sets in this course. Then once we establish the diagram and we have every element in its rightful region, we can then answer specific questions regarding the problem or the situation that we're confronted with. Okay. All right, here's an example to kick this off. In 2021, there were 41 states that had some form of casino gambling in the state, 45 states that sold lottery tickets of some kind, and 38 states that had both casinos and lotteries. Draw a Venn diagram to represent the survey results and find how many states have only casino gambling, how many states have only lotteries, and how many states have neither. Okay. Well, I think we all know, being Michiganders, that we do have casinos in our state, and we also have lotteries. Do you agree? And we're not alone, of course, as there are other states. All right, so how do we begin our Venn diagram? Well, let me ask you this question. We're going to have our universal set, which is in the form of a rectangle. But inside our universal set, how many circles are we going to have to address this situation? 2 or 3? Anybody?
I would imagine 3.
Okay. Well, let's look at what type of entities belong to the states here under consideration. We have either casino gambling and or lotteries. Do you agree?
Yes.
And then we might have, some states that don't have either of these. So let me ask you that question again. How many circles do you think are going to be necessary to address this situation?
2.
Probably 2. Probably a circle for casinos and a circle for lotteries. Okay. And of course, the universal set, which, could contain some states that have neither. All right. So it seems like it might be a two circle situation here. And because of that, we will then begin to construct this. Of course, our universal set's the rectangle. We have a circle designated for casinos and a circle designated for lotteries here. We'll label the regions with Roman numerals 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. So does this make sense so far, how we're beginning to address this problem?
Yes.
Okay, pretty clear so far. All right, now what we need to do, of course, is we need to, allocate how many states fall in each region. In order to do that, we may have to go back and reread this again here. Notice it says that now, ladies and gentlemen, to do these problems, to develop these Venn diagrams to solve problems, we normally work kind of like backwards through the reading. I know this sounds a little weird, but we normally deal with like intersections of sets first. So we'll deal with the fact that 38 states had both casinos and lotteries. So where will 38 go in region 1, 2, 3, or 4?
2.
Region 2. We all clear on that?
Yes.
All right. So that's pretty obvious. Now we will read back further through the problem. And then it says, there are 45 states that sold lottery tickets of some kind. So do I put 45 in region 3?
Yes.
Well, it says there were 45 states that sold lottery tickets of some kind. But some of those states not only sold lottery tickets, but also what? Had casinos. Do you agree?
Yeah.
Yeah, so no, you do not put 43, you know what I'm saying, in region 3. Was it 43 or 45? You don't put 45 in region 3. Of the 45 states that have lotteries, 38 of them have what? Have both. Do you agree?
Yes.
Yeah.
So what's 45 minus 38?
7.
45 minus 38 would be 7 states that have only what? Lotteries. Does that make sense? Okay. Very important there. Now, okay, so we got that address. And it says 41 states had some form of casino gambling in the state. Well, do I put 41 in region 1?
No.
No, because 38 states had both casinos and lotteries. So of 41 states that had casinos, how many had just casinos? What's 41 minus 38?
3.
3. Do we understand how we populated these regions so far?
Yes.
Okay. Now, if we were to add together all these numbers we see so far, they would sum up to what?
48.
48. But ladies and gentlemen, there are how many states in the union here?
51.
There's
There are 50 states in the union.
41, right?
41.
all right. We may have gotten rusty on that issue. Just for the record, I believe, let's see, the last time I checked it was 50.
There are 50 states in the union.
50 states in the union. But we only have how many accounted for?
48.
3 plus 38 plus 7 is only 48 accounted for. That means there must be 2 states that belong where, in what region?
In the universal.
Universal.
Yep, in region 4, exactly, that have neither casinos nor lotteries. And there you go. 2 is found in region 4. Okay, does that make sense? First of all, how we kind of like wormed ourselves through the word problem backwards to populate these regions. You see how we kind of navigated backwards through this thing? We started with this, then we dealt with this, and then we dealt with this. Get used to that, ladies and gentlemen, because that's normally how you populate these regions of a Venn diagram. You kind of like work backwards through the word problem. All right. All right. If you work forwards, things could get out of hand very quickly. Okay. So there we go. We now have our regions populated correctly, and now we can answer the questions we were being asked. And what questions were being asked here? Well, it says, how many states have only casino gambling? Only casino gambling.
3.
There would be 3. Exactly. All right. But only 3 states have casino gambling, but no lotteries. All right. The next question is, how many states have lotteries, but no casinos?
7.
There are 7, exactly. And finally, how many states have neither casinos or lotteries?
2.
That would be 2. And by the way, just out of curiosity, have you ever wondered what those 2 states might be? I didn't know this until seeing this PowerPoint. It's Hawaii and Utah. You know, and I find that kind of strange. I mean, Hawaii is like you got to admit, is a huge tourist state. Do you agree?
Yes.
And you would think, my gosh, you know, tourists, right? Tourists like to what? Maybe gamble. Agree? So
Right.
I find that very interesting. Hawaii doesn't have casinos or lotteries. I find that actually amazing. Utah, I can understand Utah in a way that they don't. But Hawaii, that's a new one on me. All right. Do you think Nevada has any of these things? Do you think? All right. Okay. Does this problem make sense how we use this Venn diagram to answer these questions, ladies and gentlemen?
Yep.
All right. Okay. Let's look at another example. You know, examples are a wonderful way to understand what's being, you know, told or taught or conveyed in a section. And, you know, it's not only true for this course, but just remember, if you ever take any future math course, always spend time looking at the examples in your textbook, study them, because it only helps to reinforce, you know, other information you're being given. All right, in a survey published in the Journal of American Academy of Dermatologists, 500 people were randomly telephoned, and they were asked whether they have a tattoo and or a body piercing. Of these, 79 reported having a tattoo only, 31 reported having a piercing only, and 151 reported having at least one of the 2. Now, I have a question for you. If it says at least one of the 2, does that mean they only had one of the 2, or could they have both? What do you think? At least one of the 2.
They could have both.
Yeah, both.
That's right. So we need to understand what this qualifier, you know, word at least, these words at least mean. At least one means they could have had just one, but they could have also had 2, more than one. That's what at least one means. All right, they want us to draw a Venn diagram to represent the situation, and then use the diagram to find the percentage of respondents, the percentage of those 500 people that responded to the survey, that have a tattoo, that have a piercing, that have both, that have neither. All right, so I have a question for you. Can you envision how many circles we're going to have inside our universal set here for this problem?
2.
3.
2.
2 or 3? How many circles?
3. 3.
Okay. If you're saying 3, can you think of what you would label those 3 circles? We got one for what? Tattoos, probably, correct?
Mm-hmm. One for body piercing.
Body piercing.
So
So
what
which
would be that third one?
For people who have both.
Yeah, but both would be kind of like
It'd
the
be-
intersection, do you agree? Of
Yeah.
the circles we mentioned already.
So it'll be 2.
You think we
think
could get
2.
away with 2 maybe in this problem?
I think
Yes.
so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there are only 2 categories again. There's just, you know, tattoos and body piercing.
Body piercings.
Now, if they said, you know, there was a third category like, I'm trying to think here, maybe colored hair. Okay, how many people have colored hair? You know, other than their natural color. That would mean 3 circles then. Do you agree? If we had that situation. All right, here we go now. So we're going to build our universal set, and we have 2 circles, one for tattoo and one for what? Body piercings. And ladies and gentlemen, again, to begin to populate these regions after we label them 1, 2, and 3, and 4. By the way, there's nothing sacred in which region you call Roman numeral 1, 2, 3, and 4. That really doesn't matter. Okay, you just want to give them a Roman numeral name. Okay. The convention I noticed in this textbook is your author likes to call like region 2 the intersection of like 2 sets here. Okay. Now, to begin to populate the regions, we're going to kind of like work backwards again through our problem. Okay, so we kind of like maybe begin with this number first, and then we kind of, you know, kind of work like backwards here. it said that, 151 of the 500 people that responded to the survey reported having at least what, one of the two. Do you agree?
Yes.
So I have a question for you. What region, knowing this information, what region could we and should we populate first? Anybody have an idea? Region
The-
1, 2, 3, or 4. What do you think?
2.
Okay, so you're saying region 2. Now, again, it's saying at least 151 of the people have what? At least either a what? Tattoo or a what? And or a what?
Pierce.
A piercing. Okay, at least one of the two. I have a question. What's the other side of the fence of saying at least one of the two? What does not at least one of the two suggest? The other side of the fence.
They only have one.
Or
No,
neither.
no. The other side of the fence would be neither having at least what, one or two. What would that
Okay.
be? Well, I said the word. It's
Universal?
neither. It's neither.
It's neither.
So do you agree, ladies and gentlemen, to state the negation, that's the word I should be using, the negation of saying that, a person has at least one of these two on their body would be saying that what? They have what? Neither of them.
Neither.
There you go. Neither of them. So
it'd be
how
pierce.
many do not have either a tattoo or a body piercing? Do you agree that'd be 500 minus our 151?
Yes.
Which would be 349 people. So believe it or not, you know what? Region 4 receives the first number, 349. Yep, region 4. That's the first one you have to populate. Because again, they say 151 have at least one of the two. At least one of the two. The negation of saying at least one of the two would be stating that what? They have none of them. They don't have any of them. That puts you outside of the circles, both circles. Does that make sense? And that's why they took 500 minus 151. And that populates region 4 then with how many people? 349.
29.
Okay. Do we understand that now, that portion?
Yes.
All right, let's move backwards to the word problem. Now it says 31 reported having a piercing only. So where would 31 go? In what region would 31 go? Having only a piercing.
3.
3.
Region 3, exactly. So we're beginning to fill out our Venn diagram here. Good. So 31 goes in region 3. Now we continue to work backwards through the word problem. Now it says 79 reported having only a tattoo. So in what region does 79 go?
And 1.
And 1.
Yeah, 1.
Region 1, having only a tattoo. Okay. All right. So now we got regions 1, 3, and 4 populated. But ladies and gentlemen, how are we going to populate region 2, the intersection?
You can subtract, because at least they have one of the two. So
How
you
many
wanna
had at
take-
least one of the two?
151.
There you go.
151.
Bingo. Ladies and gentlemen, because at least 151 of the 500 surveyed had at least one of the two, either a body piercing and or a what? Tattoo. We would take those who have only a tattoo, 79, and add to that only those who have a body piercing, 79 plus 31, which nets us what?
110.
110. And do you agree we would subtract that from 151?
Yes.
Correct.
And that would leave only those had to have both a tattoo and a body piercing. So this problem's a little bit more difficult than the previous problem because we're doing subtractions here. All right. Now, do you agree that 79 plus 41 plus 31 has got to add up to what?
151.
151. Do you agree? Because
Yes.
that is in accordance with the fact that they're saying at least 151 have at least one of these entities on their body. Does that make sense why the intersection is 41? Okay.
Yes.
Hey, we're done. We've labeled all the regions and now we can accurately answer any questions. The question was, what was the question? It says, find the percentage of respondents of the 500 people. How many had a tattoo? Of the 500 that responded, how many had a tattoo? Well, do you agree we would add 79 and 41 together?
Yes.
Yes.
And we would divide, which is 120, and we would divide that by what? 500, the
500.
grand total. And that turns that into a relative what? A relative frequency number of 0.24. To turn a decimal into a percent, we just multiply that by what? 100%. And we get what? We've answered this question.
20%.
So what percent of the 500 people surveyed had a tattoo?
24%.
4%.
24%. Exactly. And the next question was what percent of our 500 people surveyed have a body piercing? Well, how many have a body piercing? You agree?
41 plus 31.
41 plus 31, which is 72. Do you agree?
Yes.
And so
Yes.
72 divided by what? 500 would give you what decimal? I believe is that 0.144 or something.
Mhm.
And then we multiply that by what? 100%, and we discover that 14.4% of all surveyed have a what? Have
A
body-
piercing and a tattoo.
No, have a piercing, a body
A
piercing.
piercing. Okay.
Is the body piercing. Now, what percent have both? Well, that would be 41 divided by 500 times 100%, correct? And what's 41 divided by 500? You do that on a calculator.
82. I mean 8.2.
Initially, it comes at us as a decimal. 41 divided by 500 would be like 0.082.
Yeah.
Multiply that by 100%, and we get 8.2%. Had both a tattoo and a piercing.
Okay.
Okay, and so therefore, what percent had neither? Well, we take the 349.
49 divided by 500.
Yep, 349 divided by 500 times 100%. And that gives us 69.8% of the 500 people surveyed do not have anything, correct?
Yes.
Does this problem make sense? How it was a little bit more challenging, but do you agree? We still worked kind of like backwards through the problem, did we not? To
Yes, we did.
Although we had to do some inferential subtraction to infer some of the other regions. So it was a little bit more difficult than example 1. All right, that's another classic problem you could be confronted with on Alex. Let's look at example 3. A criminal justice major is studying the free. I'll tell you what, can somebody else read this problem? I got to catch my breath. Anybody? I appreciate it.
A criminal justice major is studying the frequency of certain types of crimes in a nearby county. He studies the arrest records of 300 inmates at the county jail, specifically asking about drug-related offenses, domestic violence, and theft of some sort. He finds that 194 have been arrested for theft, 210 for drug offenses, and 170 for domestic violence. In addition, 142 had arrests for both theft and drugs, 111 for both drugs and domestic violence, 91 for both theft and domestic violence, and 45 had been arrested for all 3. Draw a Venn diagram to represent these results and find the number of inmates that have been arrested for only drug-related offenses, B, theft and domestic violence, but not drugs, C, theft or drugs, or D, none of these offenses.
All right, this is quite a problem. I mean, just reading all this is a challenge in of itself. And, it's hard to keep all this, straight in your mind because there's just a lot of things going on. It's a very busy problem. And for that reason, ladies and gentlemen, let's begin by just trying to address how many circles do you think would be relevant for this situation? 2 or 3? I'll give you a hint. It's either 2 or 3.
3.
3.
What would you label those circles?
Drug-related offenses, theft and domestic violence, and theft or drugs.
Well, no, you just label the circles as just drug-related offenses, or what? Theft.
And domestic
Other one
violence.
is domestic violence. Exactly. You label the 3 circles that way. Okay. And of course, you're going to have your intersections. Do you agree? Your intersections of circles. All right. So there will be, it really looks like 3 circles is the way to go here on this particular problem. And this, like I said, is a very busy problem. And there's a lot going on. So it might take us a little bit longer. Ladies and gentlemen, for that reason, this is very wise to do on your paper. Sift through the rubble, all these words here, and pull out the pertinent, important information and just document it on your paper in a more summarized fashion. That will help immensely to tackle this problem. And look what they've done. They've done that. Okay, of all the 300 inmates that were surveyed, okay, 194 just had theft, 210 had drug convictions, 170 had domestic violence, 142 was theft and drugs, 111 drugs and domestic violence, 91 theft and domestic violence, 45 all three. You agree that this really does help to summarize things like this?
Yes.
Yeah, you have to admit, this is so much easier to understand rather than sifting through all these words here. Look at that. You know, so I mean, this is definitely something you want to do for a problem of this complexity. If you don't do that, if you just try to muscle it out like this, you know, things are going to get all tangled up and jumbled up and messed up and all screwed up. And next thing you know, you got a 6-alarm fire on your hands. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, yeah, it's wise. Why not just, try to summarize it briefly like this? Now we can begin to address this. Now I have a question for you. When I build my 3 circles inside my rectangle, which is the universal set, how am I going to plow through this problem? From top down or from bottom up? What do you think?
Bottom up.
Bottom up. That's the key here. You work from the bottom up. If you work from top down, it's going to be extremely difficult. Okay? Always work from bottom up. All right, that's how we should proceed. Okay, so here we go. We're going to start to build it. Here it is. We have our universal set region, well, whatever region. We have 3 circles inside our universal set. We have T for theft, D for drugs, and DV for domestic violence. And they labeled the regions this way: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay. Do we understand the picture so far? Does this make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Now we begin to populate these regions. Okay. 45 were convicted of all 3 offenses. Do you agree? In what region does 45 go?
And
The universal.
Universal.
Well,
Those are
again,
regions.
45
Five.
of those surveyed were
It go to 5.
in all
Oh,
3
it would
offenses.
go to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
So they were convicted of all 3 offenses: theft, drugs, and domestic violence. What region would they go in?
Region
Five.
5.
Yeah,
5?
region 5 is the intersection of all 3 circles. Do we see that?
Mhm.
Yeah.
45 goes in region 5. That's the first thing we're going to do. We're going to put, 45 right in here. Okay. Now that's where 45 goes. Let's go back up. 91 were convicted of theft and domestic violence. Theft and domestic violence. So 91 would go in what region? Theft
Region.
and
And
Region 2.
1 and 2. I mean,
Two.
1, 2. It
Yeah.
goes
theft
2.
and domestic violence.
So 2.
2.
Region 2.
Yeah, theft and no. This is D is for drugs. DV is for
Oh.
domestic violence.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Oh,
region 5.
so
Region
5.
4. Region
Yeah.
4.
Theft and domestic violence would be region 4. So I put 91 in right here. Okay, we're off to a good start. Okay, now 111 were convicted of drugs and domestic violence. Drugs and domestic violence, D and DV. What region would that be?
6. Region 6.
Okay, 111 were convicted of drugs and domestic violence. That goes in region 6. Is this making sense how we're beginning to populate this here? It's really not difficult when you go backwards. It's really pretty straightforward. 142 were convicted of theft and drugs. 142 in theft and drugs. Wait a minute here.
Region 2.
Theft
Going
and
2.
drugs, yeah. What was that number again? Was it 100?
102.
I forgot already.
142.
Signs of old age. 142. There you go. 142. I look at it this way: when you can't remember your first name, it's time to retire. Do you agree?
Yes.
You gotta get out of the business. Yeah. You gotta start thinking of moving on. Now, good. Now we got that. Okay. Now what's next? 170 were convicted of domestic violence only. 170.
So it going 3. Region
7.
3.
Region
Domestic
7.
Oh,
violence.
the best amount is 7. Yeah, 7.
Was that 70 again?
Yeah.
170.
170.
170, thanks. Unbelievable. I can't remember simple numbers like that anymore. That's bad. Anyways, okay. 210 were convicted of what? Drugs. 210 drugs. Wait a
So
minute.
it
what's
goes
that?
in Region
210
3.
drugs. Okay. Yeah. 210 convicted of only drugs. Right there. Okay. And then 194 only theft. 194 theft.
Going 1.
Region 1. And we're almost done here. All right, and then now we need to add all these numbers up and see how they compare to how many inmates were surveyed?
300.
100.
300. Let's add all these numbers up. Anybody got a calculator? 170 plus 91 plus 45. Add them all up and tell me what that gives us. The sum of all these numbers. Let me know when you get them all tallied up.
963.
963. Oh, that don't sound good. We only surveyed.
I thought I got 1,099.
It's 963.
Wait a minute. Hold on. What's going on?
I also got that.
Wait a minute. Hold the show here.
Do you just want the inmates or like literally every single number added up?
All right. Yeah, ladies, we made a big mistake here. They do add up to about what, 9,000? Was it 9,000 or something?
963.
Yeah. Why can it not be 963? Just think about it. How many inmates were surveyed totally?
300.
300.
We're way off. Okay. My bad. We got to start all over. So look at this. This portrays a situation that we could all, a trap we could all fall in if we're not
Right.
thinking. Okay. This is actually instructive in a way that we made this mistake. Do we understand why there's a big mistake in here? Do we all understand that? Why we got to do this over again?
The numbers are bigger than how
Yeah.
many inmates.
Inmates.
All these numbers are adding up to more than the number of people that were surveyed. This is a gross error. Okay.
Did we subtract it?
Yeah,
Subtract
we
those
forgot
numbers
to
from
do
the 300?
we forgot to do subtractions. So you know what? I don't think we have any choice but to what?
Start over.
All over again. Okay. But this time we'll do it correct. All right. All right. Look at how many people had all three convictions. There were 45. Do you agree?
Yes.
Yes.
That's region 5. We had that correct. All right. But here's where the wheels started to come off the track here. Now it says 142 inmates were arrested for both theft and what? Theft and drugs. Do you agree?
Yes.
But look at, we already accounted for 45 of them, did we not?
Yes.
45 of the 142 have already been accounted for theft and drugs. That's why in region 2, we put what? 97. Where did that 97 come from?
142 minus 45.
142 minus the 45 that have already been accounted for theft and drugs. We forgot to do that. Everybody see that there?
Yeah.
Only 97 goes in region 2. Okay. And there you go. So 97 goes in region 2. Now, in the same way, we get for region 4, what was region 4? So
Theft and domestic violence.
45 had all three. We accounted for the 91 for theft and domestic violence. Now 111 were charged with drugs and what? Domestic violence. 111 drugs and domestic violence. Drugs and domestic violence. Well, we already accounted for how many for drugs and domestic violence?
66.
Well, we
Oh,
already
and
accounted for
45.
45 of them. You agree?
Yeah.
We already accounted for 45 of them for drugs and domestic violence.
Right. 91.
Okay.
But it said how many were nabbed for drugs and domestic violence?
111.
There were
111.
111 for that reason, ladies, I'm gonna figure out how many people go into region 4 here. We have to subtract 45 from what? 111 to
11.
66. Okay, 66. All right. So we worked our way up to what number? 111?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now we're up to 142. 142, okay, we're charged with theft and drugs. 142, theft and drugs. So 142, so what numbers do we have in this so far? We've accounted for this number here, correct? We got this number, and we have what? This number, correct?
Yes.
We're not supposed to know any of the other numbers at this point in time. So how many two were for theft and drugs? Was it 142?
Yes.
Yes.
So theft and drugs, 142. Theft and drugs, 142. But we already accounted for how many of them though?
97,
7.
97 plus what?
45,
45 plus what?
66.
66. You have to subtract 97 plus 45 plus 66 from 142. So you add 97, 45, and 66 together and subtract it from what? 142?
That's too much.
Let's see.
But let's say 91 minus 45. So why would we?
Hold on a second here. That's too much then. Let me go
Yeah.
back and see what that 142 was for. That's
Let's
theft.
say
Oh,
91.
that's theft. Oh, I'm sorry. That's theft and drugs, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Theft and drugs, 142. Okay. But 97 plus 45 were already accounted for that. Do you agree? Theft and
Yeah.
drugs. Yeah, that's in the intersection of theft and drugs only. Sorry about that. So what's 97 plus 45?
153.
140, 143, 142.
I got 142 too.
Okay.
142. Okay.
That's 142.
So do you agree that's good? That's an accord that confirms the fact that 142 had theft and drugs, correct?
Yes.
We're good there, I think. We're good. Let's move up to the 170. 170 had domestic violence. 170 had domestic violence. How many have we accounted for so far in domestic violence? Only 45 and 66. Do you agree?
Yes.
So what's 45 plus 66?
111.
11.
Is that 111?
Yes.
Yeah.
So this 46 comes from 170 minus what?
40. Wait.
111? Is that correct? Wait a minute.
No,
Huh?
no. That would be 50.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Let's go back.
The 46 come from 91 minus 45,
Oh,
the
yeah.
chief and domestic violence.
Let's just go back and let's look at the 170 again. 170 had domestic violence. 170 domestic violence. Domestic violence 170. Okay. So how many, where did the 46 come from?
The 91 minus 45.
The theft and domestic violence together.
Theft and domestic violence together.
Yeah.
Theft and domestic violence together was 91, correct?
Yeah.
So we already accounted for the what, the 46, did we not?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's do this over again. There was 170 for what? Domestic violence, agree?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna subtract what from 171, well, 170?
46.
46 plus 45 plus what?
66.
That's what we subtract from 170 to get how many people are in region 7. Okay. So in region 7,
13, yeah.
does that give you 13?
Yes.
Okay.
170 subtract 157.
Yeah, 170 subtract 46 plus 45 plus 66 leaves us with 13. Okay. So that populates region 7 then, correct? All right. Now let's go back, see where we are. 210 were convicted of what? Drugs. 210 of drugs. Well, of the 210, how many have been accounted for drugs? 66.
6.
45,
And 97.
97. Yeah, add those up and subtract from 210, and we should have region 3, correct?
66.
Would it be 2?
08. Yeah, that just says 2.
2, there you go. See how we got 2? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, we're good. Now let's see, what do we got left in this thing? Oh, 194 theft, 194 theft. Of the 194 in theft, how many been accounted for already?
46 and 40,
46, 45, and
97.
7. Yeah, add 46, 45, and 97 together, and then subtract that
88.
from, what was it, 188?
88.
188 is the total of those 3.
Okay, 188 is the total of those 3, and we subtract from what? 194, correct?
94.
So what's 194 minus 188? That gives you 6. All right. And then finally, ladies and gentlemen, we add all these numbers together. Now you got to add them all up. And then we'll compare the sum to 300. 300 inmates totally were surveyed. Tell me what all those numbers add up to that you see.
46 plus 45 plus
13.
it's 275.
So do we subtract that by the
Yep,
300?
subtract that from 300, and you have the number of inmates that were not convicted of any of these offenses.
And I got
25.
25.
Okay, and let's see if that's correct. 25. There we go. This was a complicated problem. This is not a problem that you're going to do in 2, 3, 4 minutes. All right. It just takes time. But ladies and gentlemen, eventually, as you worm your way up from the bottom to the top, you begin to deduce, you agree, what numbers go in each region. So it's really not that difficult if you remain organized and move from the bottom to the top. If you try to move top down here, oh, that's going to be nasty. Do you agree?
Yes.
Don't do that. So this is not that bad. Now we can answer questions. And what were the questions? Well, how many inmates were arrested only for drug-related offenses? Only for drug.
2.
2. Exactly. Theft. How many arrested for theft and domestic violence with no drug arrests? Only theft and domestic violence.
46.
46.
Yep, theft and domestic. That was, let's see, was that both? Hold on. That was theft. Yeah, theft and domestic violence with no drugs. That'd be 46. Exactly. Those arrested for either theft or drugs. Okay, either theft or drugs. Either theft or drugs.
Either.
Wow. That means it could be what? Just theft or just drugs or what?
Or both.
Both.
90.
Uh,
Would it be 97?
see. A little tricky here.
You would have to include the 6 and the 2 as well with that 97.
And it says those arrested for either theft or drugs in
We
all.
gotta add like
Okay, theft or, now that's or though, correct?
yeah.
All right, ladies, I'll let you in a little secret. Or means we literally join.
So
Okay,
we gotta add.
we join all those that are in the theft circle with all those that are in the what? Drugs.
Drugs.
That's right. You got to add them all up. That's what or means. You join all these together. So let's go back. You add all the numbers in the theft circles and then all the numbers in the drugs. Oh, but don't double count what? What do we do? Don't double count here.
97.
97.
Don't double count the 97 and the what?
45.
You agree?
Yes.
So it's only 6 plus 46 plus 97 plus 45 plus 2 plus what? 66?
66.
What does that give you? That's a pretty big number.
I'd say 290, 262.
Now you got 262.
I got 260.
What was that? 260?
Yeah.
See, 260, 262. Any others?
40.
Got 262.
Okay, 262. Got a confirmation on that. Let's see here. 262. There you go. So you add, 6 plus 97 plus 45 plus 46 plus 66 plus 2. That should be 262. Is that correct?
Yeah.
262? Okay. Now, How many, how many were not arrested for any of these offenses? That would be 25.
25.
Okay.
25.
That was a lengthy problem, wasn't it? But did we understand how we plowed through it?
Yeah.
It takes that kind of methodology, like, to go ahead and try to tackle a problem like this. It was pretty involved. There's no doubt about it here. Okay, here's another beauty. Anybody want to read this one?
Three of the most dangerous risk factors for heart attack are high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and smoking. In a survey of 690 heart attack survivors, 62 had only high cholesterol among those three risk factors. 36 had only smoking, and 93 had only high blood pressure. There were 370 total with high cholesterol, 159 with high blood pressure and cholesterol that didn't smoke, and 23 that smoked and had high cholesterol, but not high blood pressure. Finally, 585 had at least one risk factor. Draw a Venn diagram representing this information and use it to answer the following questions.
Okay, yeah, so this is quite a problem. What we got to do again is we're going to need how many Venn diagrams here? How many circles do you think?
3.
Three. Yeah, one for heart attack, one for what, high cholesterol, and the other one for what, smoking, correct? Okay. Now, do you agree we should reach into this problem and jot down in hierarchical order from top down just the information they gave us to summarize it?
Yes.
That would be very helpful. So let's do that first, okay? Okay, here we go. So do you agree this is all the pertinent information here?
Can I ask you a question real
Yeah,
quick?
go ahead.
Does it matter in the numerical order or the wording that you put it in, or do you want to go by how the story is read out?
Yeah, when you summarize your data from the word problem on your paper, you want to take it from in the order you read it. Yes.
Okay.
But when you begin to populate the regions in your Venn diagram, you work from what? Bottom up.
Bottom top.
So there you go. So we read it, we populate our summarization the way we read it, the order in which we read it. And there you go. And this is a lot nicer now because it, cuts out a lot of those extraneous words, and we can cut through the chase and we can begin to see what we're confronted with here, right? All right. Now we're going to have 3 circles. There we go. One for smoking, C for cholesterol, SM for smoking, BP for high blood pressure. And we got the regions labeled here. All right, now we're going to work from bottom up here. Bottom up. 585 of how many people were surveyed? 690. 690. Was it 690 survivors?
Yeah.
585 had at least one risk factor. I know this is at the bottom, ladies and gentlemen, but you know what? I don't know if we're really ready to put the 585 anywhere. Do you agree? In fact, I don't think the 585 would go in just one region. Do you agree?
No.
It wouldn't, because this is saying 585 had at least one risk factor, which means if we total up, okay, the number that, had smoking issues, cholesterol, and blood pressure, yeah, the total would be what? 585. Do you agree? Because remember, to say at least one means it could be what? Just one of them, or 2 of them, or all 3 risk factors, correct?
Yeah.
That's what at least one means. We're not ready for the 585, but we will keep that in the back of our mind. Let's move up higher. 23, okay, had cholesterol and smoking. Where would the 23 go? Cholesterol and smoking.
In the middle.
Region 2.
Well, cholesterol and smoking, this is kind of a weird problem because we're not really ready to put the 23 anywhere. You don't put it in 2, you don't put it in 4. It seems to me the 23 would be the sum of regions, 2 and 5. Do you agree? Because it said 23 for cholesterol, and smoking. Do you agree?
Yeah.
We're not ready to put the 23 anywhere yet. So this one is taking on a little bit of a curveball, okay? So wait a minute, so where do we begin? Well, let's see if we can get some help here. Fill in the regions we know exact for. For this case, there are five 62 only high cholesterol, region 3. What does that mean? There are 5.
Do we start with the ones that say only one thing? So like on this slide, it says 62 cholesterol only, 36 smoking only, and 93 blood pressure only.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Ladies and gentlemen, in general, we normally move from the bottom up to address, to assign these regions. But we're seeing a problem for the first time whereby that is not being adhered to strictly. You're right. We really need to go up to these onlys and populate them first to begin to crack the ice. So 93 only had blood pressure issues. So 93 would go in what region? Only for blood pressure.
7.
Region 7. You are correct. Region 7. All right. 36 only had smoking issues. 36 would go in what region? Only smoking.
1.
Region 1. All right. We're beginning to, like I said, crack the ice. 62 had cholesterol only issues. 62 goes in what region?
3.
3. 62. So we know the only regions now. And because of that, we can maybe begin to, go from there. Okay, so look we've addressed this, and this. What do you think might be next? What do you think?
The and problems.
Maybe the ands, maybe, correct? So let's think. Cholesterol and blood pressure. 159 cholesterol and blood pressure. 159 cholesterol and blood. 159 cholesterol and blood.
So when it go on region
6.
No, we're going
4, 5, 6.
we're going 4.
Now, 159 was just cholesterol and blood pressure. It did not say also what smoking. Do you agree?
Yeah.
Right.
That's why we only put the 159 in region, 6? Do you agree? Because that's only cholesterol and blood pressure. All right, that one makes sense. Now, what was the next one? We had 23 was cholesterol and just smoking. Only cholesterol and smoking was 20.
That goes in 2.
That goes in region 2. You are correct. All right. So we now know all these numbers here. Okay. Now we still have to populate regions 4 and 5. We don't know those. So what could maybe help us with 4 and 5? We addressed all the onlys and the ands.
We know that 370 people had the cholesterol.
That's right.
So we can subtract 62, 23, and 159, and whatever remainder goes in
5 then, correct? Yeah. Because they tell that'd be the next one. We know 370 people total had cholesterol issues. So if you add up all the numbers in the cholesterol circle, subtract that from 370, you'll get the number of people that fall in region 5. Do we understand that? 370 subtract 23 plus 62 plus 159 will be 126 people that had all 3 risk factors. Do you understand how we got that? Okay. All right. Now, how are we going to populate region 4? Region 4 is missing. What number have we not addressed so far?
585.
There you go. Now, that's right. We're ready for the 585. Because 585 of our survivors had at least 1 risk factor. So look at. We add up all the numbers in all these circles. And then subtract that from what? 585 to populate region 4.
4.
Okay. So what is the sum of all these numbers here? I believe they all add up to 499.
That's what I got.
And therefore we'll subtract 499 who had at least one of these risk factors from 585 who had at least one of these risk factors. And we discovered therefore 86 of them must have had only what? Smoking and blood pressure. We got that now?
Yeah.
Finally, how many were surveyed total? People, how many survivors total?
690.
Of the 690, how many survivors, how many had none of these issues? Well, we would take 690 minus what? 585, do you agree?
Yes.
We got 105 of these heart attack victims, or survivors, actually, we should say, that had none of these risk factors. So they just had a heart attack for some other reason. Okay. All right. That was kind of an unorthodox problem in a sense, but do you see how we kind of went through it? This was a trickier one because we didn't know what numbers to start with here. But thankfully, one of you helped us out and told us to start with the onlys first. And then we did the ands. And then we did the 370 cholesterol. Then we did the 585 at least one risk factor. And then we were off and running. Okay, so that's a little tougher problem. But nonetheless, we still tackled it. All right. Now we can answer question. How many people had all three risk factors?
126.
126. All right. How many patients had exactly two of the risk factors? Two of the risk factors. Exactly only two of them. Well, that would be 86 for smoking and blood pressure, plus
59.
159 for cholesterol and blood pressure only, plus 23, correct? Had smoking and only cholesterol.
Oh, yeah.
So what's 86 plus 159 plus 23? That would be the total number of people that just suffered from exactly two ailments or two risk factors.
I got 268.
There you go. 268. Now, how many patients had none of the risk factors? Well, that would be what? 100.
105.
Finally, the total number. What was that last question? What was the last question? They want to know what percentage of smokers survived, I guess, right? I guess that's what they want, right? Yeah, total number inside the smoker circle. Okay, so what percent of our smokers survived? Do you agree we'd have to add 36 plus 86 plus 126 plus 23?
Agree. Yep.
And we would divide that sum by what? The total number of people investigated, which is what, 690, I believe?
Yep.
Yes.
Whoops, so that's what we'd have to do. 36 plus 23 plus 126 plus 86 is 271. Divide that by 690, multiplied by 100%. Ladies and gentlemen, 39.3% of our smokers survived a heart attack. All right. That was a tougher problem, but do we understand how we navigated through it there? Correct? Just make sure when you go to Alex, ladies and gentlemen, that you always have a piece of paper and something to write with. You're obviously going to need that. You're going to need your calculator handy too by your side. Always do the homework first because you have unlimited attempts at homework. You have unlimited attempts to work the kinks out of your thinking, and then do the quizzes, and then last do the exams. Always do them in that order. Okay. All right. So are we good on that? All right. Let's see if we can go have some fun in our textbook. Let's see here. I'm going to go to Alex. And there's a couple problems that I would like to do. Maybe have you do a couple for classworks. We'll dive into Alex, the textbook. All right, section 2.4. I got some problems lined up for us. All right. Wait a minute. Section 2.4. Oh, here we go. Sorry. Chapter 2, section 2.3, and here we go. There we go. Okay, let's go down to the problems here and have a little bit of fun. Oh, please do spend some time to look through these examples. I think that's only going to help solidify this enough in your mind. Always look through examples. Okay. All right, let's go down. Problem number 1. I would like you to do this for classwork number 1. Okay. I want you to build a Venn diagram, label your regions. And then, ladies and gentlemen, we can answer these questions A, B, and C. I'll give you some time to do that. We'll call this classwork number 1. Today's date is the 12th day of September. Put your name on the top of your paper. September 12th, your classwork 1. And hopefully you can email this to me by midnight tonight, okay? Do number 1. I'll give you some time. Go to it. Okay, are we ready to go over this problem?
Yeah.
This is a pretty simple one here, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you kind of realize compared to the last one I showed you on the PowerPoint presentation, this one's what? Pretty straightforward. Do you agree?
Yeah.
I mean, you got to admit it's a lot easier than that last one. Okay. How many circles did you use?
2.
2. One for what?
Twitter and one for Instagram.
That's right. One for Instagram, one for Twitter. And of course, they're enclosed inside of a rectangle, which is your universal set. Okay. All right, now, what region did we populate first? Just curious how we navigated through the problem.
Um,
The intersection.
The intersection of Twitter and Instagram, correct?
yes.
And then we worked that way. So we kind of like went from what? Right to left, did we not? In populating this?
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
that's the way you should have done it. And if you do it that way, it's really pretty simple. Okay, so here we go. I will show you my results here. And there you go, Liaison. I have a circle for Instagram, and for Twitter. 21 used both. And how did I get my 51? Do we understand that? Those that just used Instagram alone?
72 subtract 21.
That's right. 72 used Instagram. So 72 minus 21 accounts for 51 that just used Instagram. How did I get to 10 here?
31 subtract 21.
That's right. 31 people used Twitter, and 21 have already been accounted for. So 31 minus 21 means 10 only used Twitter exclusively. How many people were surveyed?
85.
85 total. So if you had 51 plus 21 plus 10, I believe you get 82. Is that correct?
85.
But no, you get 82 are accounted for of all these numbers, correct?
Okay.
But then you subtract it from 85 people totally surveyed, and that leaves 3 students that what did not use either Instagram or Twitter. Make sense?
Yep.
All right, then we can answer the question. How many people used only Twitter? 10. How many people used only Instagram? 51. And how many used neither? 3.
3.
Did we all get that one there?
Yes.
Okay. Again, that was a fairly simple problem there. I'm sincerely hoping that all of us got that first one. That's a pretty easy one. But if not, does that mean there's no hope? No, I didn't say that. With practice, there is hope. Okay, there's always hope with practice. All right. That'll be classwork number 1. We'll call that classwork 1. All right, let's see. What other kind of trouble can we get into? Let's see. Okay, all right. You can try problem number 3. Number 3 will be classwork number 2. Let's go to problem number 3. Here we go. A court record search of 250 incoming first-year students at a state university shows that 26 had been arrested at some point for underage drinking, but not drug possession, and 12 had been arrested for possession, but not underage drinking. There were 202 that had been arrested for neither. Okay, go ahead, build a Venn diagram and answer the 2 questions, A and B. We'll call that classwork number 2. Okay, go ahead, number 3.
Can you move your screen?
Okay, how do you want it moved?
Just
Up or down?
the side over here. I don't know if I'm able to do it. Oh yeah, I'm able to do it. Never mind.
Okay. Alrighty.
Yep.
Okay. Are we ready to look at this one, or is somebody still working on it?
I'm ready.
Maybe take a peek at this. Okay, here we go. All right, what we have here. Classwork number 2. How did I populate these regions? I got D for drinking, P for possession. D is for underage drinking, P is for possession. I populated region 1 first because they told me only 26 students were caught drinking. Populated region 3 next, only 12 students were caught with possession. Region 4 I populated next because it says that 202 students had neither offenses. It was out here. And how did I get the intersection, region 2? Well, what I did is I took the fact that there were 250 students surveyed totally, minus 26 plus 12 plus 202. And that leaves me with 10 students that were convicted of drinking and what? Possession. And then we can answer the question. A, how many students were cited for possession? That would be 10 plus 12, 22. B, how many students were cited for underage drinking? 26 plus 10, 36. Did anybody else get this that I have here? Anybody else get this?
I did.
For what it's worth, I just forgot the 10, but everything would have gone smoothly if I remembered that 10.
Oh, okay. Hey, well, you're on the right track. That's the important thing. And
I got some of it.
good. And, you know, I mean, we're going to make mistakes, but what we do with the mistake is the more important aspect. We want to try to turn it into a learning experience. Okay. It's no fun revisiting a crime scene, but if we have an error in our paper lays, and that's why it's important to lay your steps out so that we can go back through and troubleshoot where the mistake occurred, try to better ourselves. All right, good. All right, we'll call that classwork number 2. And as you probably guessed, we're raising the bar every time. Do you agree?
Yes.
So let's raise the bar a little bit higher now. I would like you to try problem number 5. We'll call this classwork number 3, number 5. Number 5. Go ahead and do that. Out of 20 students taking a midterm psychology exam, 15 answered the first of 2 bonus questions. 13 answered the second bonus question, and 2 didn't bother with either one. What percentage of the students tried both questions? What percentage tried at least one question? Go ahead and try number 5. A little bit more difficult. Call that classwork 3. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's begin to show you how to address this problem here. This was a little bit more complicated of a problem, to say the least. Okay. Now, they said that two students did not answer either questions 1 or 2. So I got 2 circles, one for question 1, one for question 2. I labeled my regions. So the first region I populated was region 4. That's obvious. That's 2 students. All right. Remember, there were 20 total students that took this exam here. All right. Now, I did it this way, and it doesn't matter whether you do it this way or you circle question 1 circle or question 2 circle. They said that 15 students answered question 1. 15 students answered question 1. Okay, so I know there's 15 students in this circle for question 1. 15 plus the 2 that's outside both circles is 17 students accounted for. But we have 20 students. And 20 minus 17 gives me 3 students that has to occupy only region 3. So only 3 students answered only question 2. So I therefore populated region 3 next based on this line of reasoning. But wait a minute. I know that totally 15 students answered question 1. Okay. And so the next region I populated was region 2, the intersection. So 15 students answered question 1. Okay. But I know a total of 13 students. No, actually, to populate region 2, I went this way. 13 students answered question 2, 3 of whom are already accounted for. So 13 minus 3 leaves 10 for the intersection. There you go. But then I know that 15 students answered question 1, so 15 minus 10 already accounted for leaves 5 students that only answered question 1. And now we can answer the question. What percent of students answered both questions, 1 and 2? That would be 10 divided by 20 times 100% or 50% of the students. What percent of the students answered at least one of these questions? At least questions 1 or 2. Or means you add up all the numbers in both circles. 5 plus 10 is 15 plus 3 is 18. 18 students out of 20 times 100% gives you 90% of the students answered at least one of these questions. And there you go. So this problem was a little bit more difficult to do. That was my approach in this problem. You could have also started off by using this circle first, by saying, well, we know 13 students answered question 2. 13 plus 2 is 15 students accounted for. Okay. So 20 minus 15 leaves you with 5 students that only therefore answered question 1. You could have started that way. All right. Did anybody have any luck on this problem and actually get it? Anybody? This was a tough problem.
I didn't.
No, I did.
I didn't.
I didn't get it.
This is a pretty, this was a tricky problem. This was not a very straightforward problem. But nonetheless, I want you to get that down. Okay.
I accidentally put 15 and 13 and I had like the 10 in the middle instead.
Oh, I did that too. I
Like,
did
take
that
away.
too. But then I added up 15 and 13. I got 28 and what? That shot that out of the water.
Yeah.
Didn't it? There was only
Yeah, I
22.
kept getting that wrong.
So yeah, you got to be careful. All right. I started that way too, fell into the same trap and had to scrap it and start over again. And I finally came up with this line of reasoning. Notice this is my line of reasoning from top down. Okay. And how I populated my regions. Okay. So at least get that down so you can think about it. All right. If nothing else, get that down or take a picture of that. Okay. That was a more difficult problem. All right. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it's 2:03. So I think it's time to maybe give you a whopper where we have 3 circles. You agree? Maybe 3 circles. A little bit of a challenge problem here. Let's see what kind of trouble we can get into on. All right, problem number 9. We will go to, are we all good on this one? Do we have this one accounted for? Well, this is on a video too. It's being recorded. So that's the beautiful thing about recordings here. Number
I have
9.
a question about about the problem before you go
Uh-huh.
off. I'm sorry. So I didn't get it quite all the way that you did, but I did take a picture of it. Do I try to rework it again and that's what I send in? Or do I send in what I ended
I
up
don't
with on my
care. I don't
paper?
care if you send me in your error or send me in the correct problem. I just want to make sure that you basically participated, okay?
Okay, thank you.
I'll leave that up to you. But yeah, the important thing is at least this, get this down now or, so that you can correct your thinking if you did make a mistake. That's the important thing. All right. Let's go to number 9, ladies. On this one here, obviously, is probably the only one we'll have time left for. It's a whopper. It's going to require 3 circles. I'll give you a hint. And there you go. I'm going to let you read this. And let's see if we can actually put the Venn diagram together to maybe answer these questions. Okay, so you got the rest of the time to work on this. Let's just see if we can have any sort of success on it. Go ahead. And begin that problem there, okay? Number 9, we'll call this classwork number 4, the last one. All right, so, I got something like this here. Attendance failing because of attendance, not studying or homework, or no homework. And, this is the order in which I populated my regions here. This is region 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Two people failed because of all three reasons. I started out with region 3 here, right there, the intersection of all three sets. And then I went to region 7. Region 7 is right here. Attendance problems and homework problems. They said that attendance and homework, there were 5 total, so 5 minus 2 gives me 3 for region 7 here. Region 5 was next. They indicated 8 students failed because of not studying and not turning in homework. Already accounted for 2 of them, so 8 minus 2 is 6 for region 5. Region 2 was populated next up here. They indicated that they indicated that 9 failed because of attendance and not studying. We already counted for 2, so 9 minus 2 leaves me with 7 for region 2. Let's see, region 6 is down here. 15 failed because of homework problem, not turning in homework, of which the 15, 3 plus 2, which is 5 plus 6, 11 was accounted. And 15 minus 11 should be, you know what, that should be what, ladies and gentlemen? That should be not 3, but what? Yeah, it should be 4. I do apologize. The next region was region 4. Region 4 is up here. They indicated 23 people failed because of not studying, of which 7, 2, and 6 have been accounted for. So 23 minus 6 plus 2 plus 7 gives you 8. 8 from there. Then region 1 was populated. We were told that 14 failed because of attendance issues, of which 3, 2, and 7 have already been accounted for. And so 14 minus 12 leaves you with 2 for there. Okay. Now we can answer all these questions. Question number 1 was how many failed because of exactly 2 reasons, I believe, right? That'd be regions 2 plus 7 plus 5. 7 plus 3 plus 6 gives you 16 students. B, what was the question for B? I forgot. What was the question for B? Anybody remember it?
Failed because of poor attendance and not studying, but not because of not turning in work.
Yeah, okay. So failed because of attendance issues and not studying, but not because of homework. So that leaves you with just region 2 here, 7. Okay. Question C was how many failed because of exactly what? 1 reason. And this should be 2 plus 8 plus 4. 2 plus 8 plus 4, which is 14 students. There we go. Finally, D. D was what? Oh, how many students failed because of attendance and not turning in homework, but not because of what? Not studying, correct? I believe
Yes.
that's 3 right here. Just region 7, 3. Okay. All right. Nasty problem, ladies and gentlemen. It just took time just to build the Venn diagram and populate it correctly. Be very careful. You can see how, like, I even made a little subtle mistake here in my subtraction. It don't take much, okay? But that is the correct way of doing that problem there. I will open up some Alex homework problems for this section. I apologize for going over here. But if you left, understandable, if you had to be somewhere, this class was supposed to end 7 minutes ago, but it's on video. Okay, but I will open up problems on Alex. If you have any questions, you can ask me. I'll stay on the line for a couple of minutes. Okay. All right. Have a good day.
Would this video be posted tonight?
Yeah, I'm gonna be posting this video as soon as I can get it compiled. Okay, I'll try to get it posted by this evening. All right.
Okay.
Hours. Yeah. All right.
For the class, did anybody come together with a study group yet?